You were taught a lie about what makes people respect you. They said if you stayed pleasant, accommodating, and agreeable, you'd be treated well, that making yourself smaller was the cost of peace. But look at the reality that belief has created. Each moment you stayed silent to dodge discomfort. Each time you swallowed your opinion to keep harmony. Every yes you gave when your soul screamed no, it didn't bring peace. It began to erase you. Gradually, something shifted. People didn't become more considerate. They grew comfortable ignoring you. The uncomfortable truth is this: endless agreeableness doesn't earn respect. It dissolves it. Niceness without a backbone blends into the scenery. Silence without purpose starts to appear as weakness. Eventually, you aren't seen as kind. You become invisible. The Stoics grasped this long before modern times. They knew that virtue without firmness is delicate, that a calm, steady no holds more gravity than 1,000 apologies, that living with integrity sometimes requires disappointing others rather than betraying yourself. Yet most of us were conditioned to think the opposite, that limits are impolite, that occupying your rightful space is selfish, that true strength must be loud. So we learn to grin while bitterness grows. We learn to apologize for taking up air. We learn to fear our own power. But this isn't kindness, it's quiet self-abandonment, and the price is steep. Not just in how others perceive you, but in how you start to see yourself. Confidence fades, purpose blurs, your presence dims. What's left is the exhausting pressure of trying to be acceptable instead of being anchored. When you finally see that pattern for what it is, everything shifts. Strength no longer feels aggressive. Boundaries no longer feel cruel. No becomes clear and clean. Calm becomes firm. And respect is no longer chaste. It starts to form around you naturally. If this resonates, if a part of you knows there's more authority and depth within than the world currently acknowledges, consider subscribing to Stoic Mindset Mastery, not as a pledge to a channel, but as a quiet decision to stop shrinking, to choose growth over comfort, truth over approval, and the steady, disciplined strength the Stoics taught was the bedrock of a free life. Habit 1. The compulsive apology. You need to understand something about the word sorry. It's not merely vocabulary, it's a reflex wired into you like a flinch. Most of us utter it before we even process the situation. Someone bumps into you on the sidewalk and you're the one apologizing. You raise a hand in a meeting to ask a legitimate question and your voice leads with, "Sorry, just a quick thing." The cafe messes up your order and before they can speak, you say, "Oh, sorry about that." The wild part? None of these scenarios actually warrant an apology. You caused no harm. You broke no rule. You simply existed, made a request, or stated a need, and yet you felt compelled to apologize. Why? Because somewhere along the line, sorry ceased to be about remorse. It became a shield, a way to soften your impact, to make yourself more palatable to others. The issue is, when you use sorry this way, you aren't diffusing tension. You're diminishing yourself. You're telling people, often without words, that your time, your thoughts, your very presence are less significant. And that message sticks. It becomes part of how others treat you, not because they're mean, but because you've taught them how to view you. From a Stoic perspective, this is more than semantics. It's a dignity issue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." If you constantly think of yourself as an inconvenience, that's the hue your presence will emit, to you and to everyone around you. The language you choose isn't just sound, it's a signal. An overused sorry is a sign that reads, "I am small, I am guilty, I am afraid of occupying space." This isn't about never apologizing. If you've genuinely caused hurt or chaos, owning it sincerely is noble and strong, but most of the time, your sorry is masking something quieter: fear, Fear of conflict, of being seen, of being disliked. You toss it out like a protective charm, hoping it will keep you safe. In reality, it's stripping away your backbone, one whispered word at a time. The most damaging part? This habit trains you to see yourself as a problem before anyone else even forms a judgment. That anticipation of rejection, that deep-seated insecurity, isn't humility. It's the slow erosion of self-regard. And people sense it. They may not know why they interrupt you or disregard your ideas, but subconsciously, they've absorbed your cues. You've broadcast that you lack confidence in your own words. Social hierarchies are built not just on volume or titles, but on these invisible signals of posture, tone, and language. The escape isn't aggression. It's not swinging to the opposite extreme of never taking accountability. The escape is clarity. It's knowing the difference between being responsible and being submissive. It's choosing your language with intent, not habit. One powerful way to shift this pattern is to replace the apology instinct with gratitude. You enter a meeting a few minutes late. Instead of shrinking with, "Sorry, I'm late," you state, "Thank you for your patience." It's subtle, but it transforms the energy. The first requests forgiveness. The second offers acknowledgement and presence. Or someone helps you after you've forgotten something. Instead of, "Sorry, I forgot," try, "Thank you for the reminder." It elevates the exchange. You're not pleading for pardon. You're showing up in a way that says, "I see your effort and I am not defined by this small error." Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Here, bravery isn't about dramatic heroism. It's about appearing in your own life without constantly apologizing for being in it. It's about reclaiming your speech so your words mirror the self-respect you're building. Because ultimately, if you want others to respect your voice, you must first stop using it to apologize for your existence. It takes practice. You'll catch yourself mid-sentence. You'll feel the sorry rising in your throat like a reflex. That's normal. It's the residue of years conditioned to feel guilty for being human. But each time you pause, each time you swap in a "thank you" or simply hold a confident silence, you're rewiring how you think of yourself and how others do too. That is authentic self-mastery, quiet, consistent, grounded. Carl Jung noted, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." You cannot become that person if you're perpetually apologizing for the parts of you that are already enough. Let your language reflect your value, not inflated, not arrogant, but clear, solid, whole. You are not here to tiptoe. You are here to stand firm. And when you do, when you speak as someone who belongs in the room, the world adjusts. People listen differently. They respond differently. Respect doesn't need to be demanded. It flows naturally when your presence stops asking for permission. It all starts with one tiny, profound shift, releasing the reflex to say, "Sorry," when there is absolutely nothing to be sorry for. Habit 2, the nervous smile. We've all experienced this moment, but rarely discuss it. You're in a situation that stings, a passive-aggressive remark being talked over in front of others, criticism delivered as a personal jab. And in that instant, what do? You smile, not from joy or amusement, but because your body, trained over years, pulls that muscle on autopilot. That tight, polite, automatic grin becomes your armor. It's your way of signaling, "I'm not a threat, don't hurt me, I'll be agreeable, I'll vanish if you prefer." Yet, ironically, that very smile meant to smooth things over quietly achieves the opposite. People don't respect a smile that arrives at the wrong moment. They don't perceive it as kindness. They interpret it as confusion, fear, or worse, submission. When your facial expression sends a signal that contradicts your words and energy, others begin to distrust your presentation. There's a deep psychological dissonance in seeing someone's eyes flash with unease, while their mouth stretches into a smile. It's unsettling because it suggests you aren't fully present, or more critically, not fully honest with yourself. Over time, this incongruence chips away at your authority. It tells the world, I cannot hold my ground. The Stoics advocated for emotional mastery, not suppression but harmony. Epictetus said, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. The inverse is also true. If you smile to shield others from your own boundaries, you become their servant. You grant them the illusion their disrespect is acceptable, that they are correct, and that you will absorb it silently. That isn't patience. It's self-erasure. So why do we do it? Because most of us were conditioned from childhood to link politeness with survival. We learned that if we kept everyone around us comfortable, even at our own expense, we'd avoid conflict, be liked, stay safe. That nervous smile became our shield. But the truth is that shield is porous. People detect the energy beneath the smile. They feel the discomfort, sense the anxiety. And the very thing you hope prevents confrontation often invites more. When you respond to rudeness or disrespect with a smile, you're permitting it to continue. You're training people to believe you're fine with being overlooked, and they will persist, not necessarily from malice, but from habit, because you set the tone. You handed them the script, and they're reading it. But here's the pivot. You don't need to smile to prove you're okay. You don't need to smile to diffuse every awkward moment. Sometimes the most potent response is no response at all. Just stillness, just calm, just holding your expression neutral, not cold, not aggressive, simply aligned with reality. Let your face reflect the seriousness of the situation, not to manufacture tension, but to acknowledge it exists. And in that silence, in that grounded non-reaction, people feel the weight of their own behavior. It's remarkable what occurs when you stop reacting, when someone says something off-key and you simply look at them, not with anger or hurt, but with a steady, composed presence. The silence stretches. They become aware of their words. They feel them echo, and often they self-correct because they realize, consciously or not, that their remark didn't land as intended. That is the power of restraint. That is the weight of unshaken presence. Aristotle believed virtue lies in the balance between deficiency and excess. Too much reaction makes you seem volatile. Too little makes you seem detached. The middle path, the Stoic path, is the capacity to remain anchored, to feel your emotions rise and still choose your expression consciously. You reclaim your face, you reclaim your voice, and in doing so, you begin to teach people how to treat you. You owe no one a performance. You need not plaster on a smile to make others feel secure after they've disregarded your limits. You can stand still. You can hold the moment. And what's astonishing is how swiftly others notice the shift. The same individuals who once dismissed your unease suddenly feel compelled to earn your respect. They may not voice it, but they feel it. Because stillness, when held with intent, is louder than any outburst. This isn't about becoming cold or withholding warmth. In fact, this is what allows your genuine warmth to matter. When you smile from authentic joy, people feel it. It carries substance. It's not a nervous habit, it's a choice, and that makes it invaluable. Your expressions, your energy, your tone, when they match the truth of the moment, they become instruments of integrity, and that's what people ultimately trust. Carl Jung observed, "In each of us there is another whom we do not know." That other self, the one who's calm under pressure, who doesn't need to please everyone, who can sit in discomfort without dissolving, already resides within you. You don't have to create it, you must stop concealing it. The nervous smile is a mask worn long enough. Once you remove it, people start seeing you as you truly are. Not passive, not agreeable, not fragile, but complete. Each time you catch that smile rising when it isn't genuine, pause. Don't force it down, just notice. Ask yourself what you're trying to protect. Then breathe. Let your face relax, let your presence communicate. Over time, the habit fades, replaced by something stronger, something grounded, calm, and commanding. The most influential people in the room aren't always the loudest. They're often the ones who don't flinch, the ones whose stillness compels others to rise to meet them. And when your presence stops apologizing, stops shrinking, stops smiling when it doesn't want to, that's when people truly notice. That's when you start to feel what authentic inner strength looks like. Habit 3, over-explaining your no. There's a peculiar pressure we feel when telling someone no. It's as if we aren't permitted to leave it at that. We feel compelled to soften it, justify it, ensure the other person isn't disappointed. So we heap on reasons. I can't make it because my pet isn't well, work is insane, I'm exhausted, and my car is making a weird noise. We transform a simple boundary into a full defense, hoping they'll understand if we explain enough. But here's the flaw. When you start defending your boundaries as if they're on trial, you send an unintended message. You're saying, I don't trust this no to stand alone. I'm asking for your permission to uphold it. What you think is politeness or respect often backfires. It signals doubt. It tells people there might be room for negotiation. And those accustomed to pushing limits will sense that immediately. They'll question your reasons, poke holes in your story, suggest alternatives. What if I give you a ride? What if we make it shorter? Suddenly, you're cornered by your own over-explanation. The more you speak, the more you invite debate, not because people are cruel, but because you've made the conversation about proving your excuse instead of stating your choice. Boundaries aren't mathematical proofs. You don't need to show your work. You're not in a courtroom pleading innocence. You're just saying no. That is sufficient. Stoic philosophy makes this clear. Power lies not in the length of your speech, but in the certainty behind it. Seneca advised, if you wish to be loved, love. But if you wish to be respected, respect your own lines first. When you honor your time and energy without dressing it in apologies or disclaimers, others learn to do the same. This doesn't mean becoming cold or lacking compassion. It means ceasing to believe your needs require a sales pitch. You're allowed to decline an invitation without being busy. You're allowed to rest without being sick. You're allowed to choose your priorities without broadcasting every detail of your life. That isn't rudeness. It's adulthood. It's clarity. And in a world addicted to over-explanation, clarity feels like strength. It's worth examining where this habit originates. Many of us learned early that no wasn't a safe answer. Perhaps as children, we had to defend decisions to parents who wouldn't accept them. Maybe we were corrected for disagreeing, even gently, so we developed the habit of over-explaining to evade conflict. It worked then, but now it sabotages you. Because the adult world respects calm certainty, not anxious monologues. People don't need all your reasons. They need your presence. They need your yes to mean yes and your no to mean no. That's where trust is born. Ironically, when you say no with clarity and kindness, people push less. You fear they'll be upset, but in truth, they sense the strength in your words and recognize you mean what you say. You'll be surprised how often others retreat, not because you convinced them, but because they sensed you weren't trying to. Carl Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. That includes accepting the parts with limits, the part that tires, the part that needs quiet, the part that refuses to be pulled in countless directions to keep others comfortable. Honoring those parts isn't selfish, it's essential. Because when you live in constant explanation mode, you drain your energy trying to be understood instead of simply being whole. So how do you break the cycle? Start with one sentence. That doesn't work for me. No tone, no story, no panic. Say it, then stop. let the silence speak. You needn't fill it. You needn't rush to soften it. Just breathe and let the moment land. Initially, it will feel unnatural. You'll want to fill the space, but with practice, it becomes grounding. You can add a simple, kind follow-up if it feels too abrupt. Thanks for thinking of me, though, or I appreciate the invite. But these are additions, not defenses. You're not explaining. You're closing the loop with grace, not collapsing into apology. People respect boundaries that are calmly enforced. They don't need drama or lectures. They need consistency. When someone sees your no today doesn't require a 5-paragraph essay, they begin to trust you mean it. They also ask less frequently when they know you won't bend under pressure or pour out your life story. Plato said, "Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something." Regarding boundaries, say only what is necessary. Let the silence handle the rest. It isn't empty. It's full of self-respect. Here's a quiet benefit. When you stop over-explaining your no, your yes gains value. People know it's genuine. They know it springs from intention, not obligation. They stop taking it for granted, and you stop resenting what you agreed to because you've made space for what truly matters. This is living with inner strength, not to push people away, but to stop pushing yourself over the edge to accommodate them. To let your words be simple, your presence firm, your decisions rooted in something deeper than fear. Your life is not a courtroom, and your peace is not up for debate. Speak less, stand taller, choose simplicity over performance, and trust that those who truly belong in your life won't require a long explanation to honor your boundaries. They'll sense the clarity behind them and rise to meet it. Habit 4. Seeking reassurance. There's a moment after you explain an idea, an instruction, a thought you've put real effort into, and it feels natural to ask, "Does that make sense?" You might say it automatically, even kindly, aiming to be helpful, but beneath that surface-level politeness, a quiet signal is sent, one you likely don't hear. What you're truly saying is, "I'm not sure I was clear. I'm not sure I'm enough." You're gently giving your power away. You're handing the listener the authority to decide not just if your message was clear, but if you are clear. That isn't humility. It's camouflaged self-doubt. What begins as a harmless habit becomes a pattern that gradually erodes how people perceive your presence. Instead of anchoring your words in confidence, you build in uncertainty. And you do it at the end, right when your message should land with force. You finish strong, then add, "Does that make sense?" And the strength dissolves. Because now it doesn't matter what you said. It matters whether someone else decides if it made sense. It's not that we shouldn't care if people understand us. Communication isn't one way. The difference lies in posture. When you ask, "Does that make sense?" it's often not about the content. It's about the speaker seeking validation. It's a reflex built in moments of insecurity, a habit formed by years of thinking you need permission to be sure of yourself. Instead of owning the clarity you just delivered, you shrink back into the role of the uncertain one. And that's where cracks appear, not in your logic, but in your presence. The Stoics would call this a misalignment of internal stability. Marcus Aurelius noted, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." The same applies here. The words you speak, how you explain, how you carry your voice, all stem from internal beliefs. If you believe what you're saying holds value, you don't ask the room to validate it after every sentence. You let the idea land and trust that those meant to understand will do so, or ask questions if needed. You speak not for applause, but from alignment. Consider the people you respect most. Do they constantly ask if they're making sense? Do they tiptoe around their ideas, hoping not to confuse? Or do they speak clearly, then give space for others to respond naturally? There's a distinction between being clear and seeming unsure. While your intention might be clarity, the delivery often sounds like you're second-guessing yourself. That's the trap. A subtle linguistic shift is far more powerful. Instead of asking, "Does that make sense?" say, "What are your thoughts?" or "Let me know if you have questions." These alternatives keep the door open for dialogue but don't undermine your credibility. They position you as someone who assumes clarity, not someone pleading for it. You shift from asking for approval to inviting conversation. It's a posture change, not a personality change, and it makes all the difference. This habit doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a larger pattern of seeking reassurance. It shows up when you hold back in meetings, downplay your ideas, or phrase everything as a question to avoid sounding too certain. But that fear of confidence is misplaced. Confidence, when grounded in truth and self-awareness, doesn't offend. It calms. It gives others something to lean on. It shows you've done the thinking, taken responsibility for your words, and now you're offering them, not begging for endorsement. Epictetus said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." The same goes for how people react to us. Often they respond not to our ideas, but to how we carry them. If you carry them with quiet doubt, others feel that. If you carry them with grounded trust, that's what they reflect. You set the tone, whether you realize it or not. Jung also pointed to this when he wrote, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents." In this context, the unlived life is often the voice you never learned to trust. Perhaps your environment taught you to hedge your thoughts. Maybe you were rewarded for being agreeable, over-assertive. So now, even when your insight is sharp, that old programming activates, whispering, "Ask if it made sense. Don't assume you were clear. Don't risk being misunderstood." And so you bend, not because you're wrong, but because you're still afraid of being too right. But clarity doesn't come from constant checking. It comes from doing the inner work beforehand, shaping your message well, and delivering it as if it matters. When you're prepared, you don't need to ask if you were clear. You already know you were. If someone needs clarification, they'll ask. That's not your job to preempt. It's theirs to initiate. Your role is to show up, speak with care, and let your presence do the rest. There's a quiet power in assuming you make sense, not from a place of perfection, but from trusting you've done the work to speak from truth. That trust is what others feel, and when they feel it, they lean in. They may not always agree, but they won't doubt your clarity. So next time you feel that familiar urge to add, "Does that make sense?" Pause, replace it, say, "I'm open to your questions on that." Or say nothing at all. Let the silence breathe. Let your words settle and let people absorb them on their own terms. That is confident communication. That is self-trust. When your words are clear, they don't need a chaser. They don't require padding with questions or softening by doubt. They just need space to resonate. And in that resonance, your presence grows stronger, not by force, but by quiet certainty. Habit 5. The chronic yes. A quiet exhaustion lives inside people who cannot say no. You see it in their faces, tight smiles, weary eyes, the constant strain of trying to be available to all. They're the first to volunteer, the last to object. You ask for help and they agree before you finish speaking. They are dependable, selfless. But look closer and you'll see something else. Resentment, fatigue, a hollowed-out version of someone always giving and never replenishing themselves. That's the toll of saying yes to everything. You slowly vanish from your own life. It's not that helping others is wrong. Supporting people is beautiful. But when your generosity springs from fear instead of strength, it becomes a trap. You aren't saying yes because it aligns with your values or energy. You're saying yes because you fear the alternative. You fear seeming selfish, being excluded, disappointing someone who might not understand your refusal. So from fear, you give your time as if it costs nothing. But time is the one commodity you can never retrieve. Every fear-based yes is a withdrawal from your life's account. People think saying yes to everything makes them valuable, that being available means being needed, and being needed means being loved. But what it truly does is make you common, predictable, easy to overlook, because people value what is scarce, intentional, protected. When you're always available, your presence loses weight. When you say yes from habit, your word loses meaning. Even your most sincere support starts to feel obligatory, and others stop appreciating it, not from ingratitude, but because you've trained them to expect it by default. This is where Stoic thinking becomes vital. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less. But not just any less. Do only what is essential." That means knowing your mission, your values, and knowing when to say no without guilt, and yes without resentment. The Stoics weren't cold, they were clear. They believed in aligning action with principle. That's where your strength resides. Not in being agreeable, but in being intentional. You might worry that saying no will make people like you less. But here's the paradox. The people who truly matter, those who respect you, don't want the version of you that's stretched thin and secretly bitter. They want the whole you, the focused, grounded, present version. And that version only exists when you protect your time as if it actually means something. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to what fills you. You're sidelining your own needs, goals, and peace for another's convenience. This habit often starts young. Maybe you were praised for being the easy one, the one who never complained, always helped, asked for little. That praise became part of your identity. You don't want to be difficult, so you overextend. You don't want to let people down, so you keep showing up even as you fall apart. Slowly you learn to equate being needed with being enough. That isn't generosity, it's survival, it's self-worth entangled with approval. But you are permitted to choose where your energy goes. You are allowed to say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you," instead of defaulting to yes. That one sentence buys you time. It grants a pause to consult your priorities, to ask if this request aligns with your values, your calendar, your peace. If it does, wonderful. Say yes, wholeheartedly. If it doesn't, say no, cleanly, without a dozen apologies or fabricated excuses. That doesn't work for me right now, but I hope it goes well. Real strength isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. When you start filtering decisions through that lens, your entire world shifts. People begin to see you differently. They start respecting your time because you do. They cease expecting you to be their emotional crutch because you've drawn a line. And surprisingly, many will admire you for it, because you become someone who stands for something, a person with structure, clarity, boundaries. That is rare, and rare is respected. Aristotle believed virtue lies in the balance between extremes. Excessive selflessness becomes self-erasure. Excessive self-focus becomes arrogance. The balance is knowing your limits and honoring them without apology. When you give from that place, it's felt, it's authentic, and it carries no hidden strings of exhaustion or resentment. That's the presence people remember, not because you said yes to everything, but because you showed up fully for what truly counted. So next time someone asks for your time, pause. Ask yourself not just, do I have time, but do I have the energy, the space, the desire? If the answer is yes, give freely. If it's no, or even a maybe, protect your boundary. You owe no one access to your life simply because they asked. Your time is not a public utility, it's your most personal asset. Guard it, shape it, own it. because ultimately people won't remember you for how often you said yes. They'll remember how you appeared when it truly mattered. And that version of you, the focused, present, intentional you, is the one that changes lives, starting with your own. Habit 6, the minimizing word. It slips into your sentences as if it belongs, almost invisible, seemingly harmless. I just wanted to check in. Just making sure. Just a quick question. That tiny word, just, sounds polite, gentle, reasonable. But look deeper. It's shrinking your presence. It's taking whatever confidence your words held and softening them into a suggestion, not an assertion. This isn't merely language, it's a posture, and every time you use it, you're subconsciously telling the world, I know I'm interrupting, I know I'm asking for something I perhaps shouldn't. Please don't view me as a burden. And once people sense that energy from you, they respond in kind. Most employ just to sound nice, non-threatening, to avoid seeming pushy. But here's what actually occurs. Your words lose weight. Your voice loses clarity. Your message becomes forgettable. It's like tapping on a door with a feather and hoping someone hears. In a world saturated with noise, uncertain voices get tuned out swiftly. It isn't aggression that captures attention. It's conviction. Quiet, respectful conviction. That's what the Stoics understood. What you say is only half the story. How you say it, how grounded your language is, tells people whether to lean in or move on. This isn't about removing kindness, it's about removing self-minimization. There's a difference. When you say, I just wanted to ask, you're asking permission to exist in the conversation. You're pre-apologizing for occupying space. But when you say, I wanted to ask, you're communicating intention. Still respectful, still kind, but not small. That subtle shift alters how people hear you, respond to you, whether they feel your presence or brush past it. It's especially visible in writing. Scan your emails, texts, messages. You'll likely be startled how often just appears. It sneaks in because you think it softens your tone, makes you sound easygoing. In reality, it chips away at your credibility, sentence by sentence. You write just following up instead of following up. You type just wanted to say thanks instead of thank you. One sounds like a favor, the other sounds like a statement. That's the difference confidence makes. Confidence isn't loud, it doesn't shout, but it also doesn't apologize for speaking. When your words match your worth, people pay attention, not because you're trying to impress, but because you're communicating from alignment. There's no extra fluff, no hedging. That kind of clarity feels rare today. In a world of over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-smoothing, a single clean sentence can feel striking. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That includes how you speak. Who do you want to be when you enter a room? Write an email, engage in conversation. The person who tiptoes in, hoping not to disturb, or the person who calmly, respectfully speaks their truth, then let silence carry the rest. If you speak as though your words are a disruption, others will start treating them that way. But if you speak as though your words have weight, people will stop and feel them. That's the issue with just. It's weightless. It's filler. Worse, it tells your own mind that what you're saying might not truly matter. Language isn't just for others, it's for you. The more you say just, the more you internalize the idea that your voice must be softened before it's heard, that you're only allowed to speak if you wrap your thoughts in enough sugar. But the truth is, you don't need sugar. You need clarity. So what's the remedy? Simple. Start a 7-day detox. For 1 week, cut just from everything. Your emails, texts, speech. Catch it when you say it. Stop yourself mid-sentence if needed. At first, it will feel harsh, as if your words are too blunt. But what you're actually feeling is your power returning. You're reclaiming space you've ceded for years. Yes, it will feel strange. but it will also feel strong. You aren't erasing politeness, you're erasing hesitation. In its place, you insert something far more valuable: presence. When you stop apologizing for your thoughts begin to carry authority, not because you said them louder or decorated them with charm, but because you stopped diluting them with invisible fear. That's what many fear, not being wrong, but being fully seen. So they soften themselves until they blend in, until no one notices, until they can say, well, I didn't push too hard, I didn't make anyone uncomfortable. But what if being noticed, being felt, being direct isn't something to dread? What if that's precisely what you're here to do? It's not about never being soft, it's about never being small from fear. When you remove the just, you cease signaling that your thoughts are conditional. You stop implying your presence needs approval, and slowly your environment adjusts. People start hearing you differently. They respond with more respect, clarity, trust, because you've earned it, not through performance, but through presence. Seneca said, "Speech is the mirror of the mind." If your speech brims with uncertainty, your mind will mirror that hesitation. But if your words are clean, calm, and unapologetic, your mind learns to dwell in that clarity, and that changes everything from how you speak to how you move through the world. That is the power of language, so test it. Strip just from your day and watch your words change shape. Observe how people respond. Notice how your thoughts feel different when they're no longer wrapped in fear. You'll feel sharper, weightier, more certain, not because you added anything, but because you took something away. And sometimes that's the only change you need. Habit 7, the self-deprecating joke. There's a peculiar way we attempt to connect, a habit disguised as humor, relatability, the notion that if we laugh at ourselves first, no one else can weaponize it against us. You've likely done it unthinkingly. You enter a meeting and say, "Don't expect brilliance, I'm hopeless at this." You make an error and quip, "I'm a total mess today." You forget a name and preemptively declare, "I'm the worst with names," and everyone chuckles. It's harmless, right? Just a joke, keeping it real. But something is transpiring beneath that moment. You are branding yourself in front of others, and they are listening. The human mind seeks shortcuts. We label rapidly to know how to respond. And when you repeatedly label yourself as messy, forgetful, clumsy, or lazy, people file that away. Even if they disbelieve it initially, repetition makes it stick. Over time, your little self-directed jokes become their unconscious perception of who you are, not because they're judging harshly, but because you instructed them what to believe. This isn't merely self-deprecation, it's self-sabotage masquerading as humor. The intention usually stems from a decent place. We desire to be humble, to avoid seeming arrogant, to put others at ease. But somewhere, humility morphed into self-erasure, and self-erasure became the norm for those fearing to appear too confident, proud, or threatening. But authentic humility isn't shrinking. It's standing firm and creating space for others to rise beside you. It's elevating others, not diminishing yourself. The Stoics held that your character is your most precious asset, not your charm or cleverness, but your character. And your words, especially those about yourself, reflect and shape that character daily. Seneca noted, "A good character, when established, is not easily overthrown." But if you keep chipping at your own image with careless jokes, you're weakening the very foundation that earns trust and respect. Carl Jung, too, spoke of the unconscious power of repeated thoughts and symbols. He said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." That includes what you declare about yourself. When your words persistently paint you as chaotic, unreliable, or foolish, your actions begin to unconsciously follow that script. You show up late more often. You slack a bit more because, after all, you're just bad at organization, right? You've said it enough to believe it, and now your life adjusts to fit the label you created. But what if you stopped? What if instead of cracking a joke at your own expense, you simply acknowledged the mistake, corrected it, and moved forward? What if instead of calling yourself a mess, you stated, "I overlooked that, but I've got it now"? Imagine how different your energy would feel, to others and to yourself. This isn't about pretending perfection. It's about refusing to let your flaws define you. You're allowed an off day without branding yourself as broken, because that's what these self-roasts become over time. Branding. You wear them like a name tag, even if you think it's temporary. And here's the painful part. The more you say it, the more others expect it. You become the hot mess friend, the scatterbrained colleague, the clueless student. Once people assign you that identity, changing it grows harder, even when you've outgrown it, even when you're evolving. That's how reputations cement, not because people refuse to see you anew, but because you trained them not to. It demands discipline to stop yourself mid-sentence and think, wait, I don't need to make myself the punchline right now. It requires strength to hold your presence without dressing it in disclaimers. But that's what self-respect looks like. And respect, especially self-respect, needn't be loud. It must be real. You needn't swing to the opposite extreme and start boasting. You needn't pretend you never err. You must simply cease dragging your own name through the mud for a laugh. If you wish to be relatable, let it spring from authenticity, not insecurity. You can share struggles without turning them into a performance. You can admit flaws without announcing them as your personality. You can be humble by celebrating another's strengths without cutting yourself down in the process. That's the distinction between false humility and real integrity. Socrates advised, "Be as you wish to seem." That includes how you present yourself to others and, more crucially, to yourself. If you wish to be seen as capable, grounded, thoughtful, start speaking that way, not by pretending, not by faking, but by removing the unnecessary punches you throw at yourself out of habit. Your words are seeds. What you plant grows. So stop planting weeds and wondering why your confidence feels frail. You don't have to be perfect. You're permitted to forget, to err, to have difficult days. But don't let those moments define you. Let them pass. Let them be moments, not labels. If you make a mistake, own it, correct it, proceed. And if you're ever tempted to joke about how terrible you are at something, pause. Ask if that joke is lifting the moment or lowering you. Most often, it's the latter. Over time, as you cease roasting yourself, something quiet and potent begins to grow. People take you more seriously, not because you demanded it, but because you stopped, inviting them to laugh at your expense. Your words carry more heft, your presence feels more anchored, and you start believing in your own competence, not boastfully, but in a steady, rooted way. Aristotle believed we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That includes the habit of how we speak about ourselves. Choose better words. Choose stronger narratives. Grant yourself the respect you so freely offer others, because when you stop making yourself the punchline, people start seeing the full story, and more importantly, so do you. Remember, how you speak to yourself shapes how you move through the world. When you cease lowering your own value for a cheap laugh, you reclaim your presence, your respect, and your power. It's not about perfection, it's about wholeness. Every time you choose to honor yourself in your speech, you step closer to becoming the person you're meant to be. If this video delivered value, please support Stoic Mindset Mastery by liking it. It truly helps the channel. To continue this journey, I suggest watching one of the videos on screen now. Thank you for being here, where we don't just discuss change, we build it.